ladies and gentlemen, my dear young people, the beauty about this gathering, which really warms my heart, is the fact that it's a convocation of young people, by young people, and for young people. So this has been put together by young people, and so you see that even our chairman is a young chief. If you see any gray hair, it's very young also, because we have young and young at heart. So we have very young politicians in our midst, those who are former appointees. You're all welcome. We have the youngest Ashanti Regional Minister, he's also here. In good time, we'll be introducing everyone to you, but please feel at home. We are in the convocation of young people. Put your hands together for that. Amazing. I'm very excited about that. So this is organized by VODC Africa. We call it the National Emerging Leaders Economic Forum. The National Emerging Leaders Economic Forum. It's not new. We've been around for some time, and we've made some impact over the years. And we want to, in the next couple of minutes, just a few minutes, show you through audiovisual just how much impact we've been able to make as young people. So please lend your attention to the screens. We want to chronicle the impact we've been making, and then we'll take it off from there. Thank you.
Landscape of Africa, a vision was born. This vision took shape in the form of VODC Africa, an organization dedicated to empowering youth through entrepreneurship and leadership. Founded on October 20, 2017, VODC Africa aimed to cultivate a new generation of innovators and leaders who will transform their communities and drive economic growth.
Hi, my name is Daniel Asumeni, the founder and the CEO for VODC Africa, a youth-oriented organization that focuses on empowering young people towards assuming responsibilities in becoming entrepreneurs and leaders in society. VODC Africa was established in 2017 as a non-profit youth-oriented organization, and the vision of VODC Africa is to become the largest entrepreneurial and leadership club globally, fostering an entrepreneurship spirit among youths, and its mission is to support members' leadership and business views, contributing to a prosperous African continent.
The vision of VODC Africa is to create a transformative ecosystem where youth are empowered to become successful entrepreneurs and leaders, driving sustainable development across Africa.
The organization VODC Africa operates on 4 thematic areas, and number 1 is entrepreneurship development, leadership and governance, women empowerment, and climate action.
The mission of VODC Africa is empowerment, innovation, networking, and community impact.
The organization actively collaborated with local communities, chiefs, and opinion leaders. These partnerships helped to establish entrepreneurial hubs that provided resources and training for aspiring business owners and leaders.
In 2018, VODC Africa launched an inspiring initiative known as the Idea Challenge. This national program was designed to empower young entrepreneurs by providing them with essential funding and technical support. The aim was clear: to discover and nurture the most innovative business ideas among the youth. Through this initiative, we had the privilege of sponsoring a talented young man from the northern region of Ghana. With our support, he established a kente weaving company dedicated to the production of kente cloth, a vibrant and culturally significant fabric that embodies the rich heritage of Ghana. This endeavor not only showcases the creativity and potential of Ghanaian youth, but also contributes to the preservation of a beloved local brand. Join us as we explore the journey of entrepreneurship and cultural pride through the lens of this remarkable story.
One amazing thing that VODC Africa did was the COVID response. During the COVID-19 pandemic, VODC Africa partnered with personalities like H.R.H. Duke and the founder and CEO of 1 Million Entrepreneurs to support vulnerable communities. The organization supplied essential resources, including water, face masks, and food supplements, reinforcing its role in community resilience.
VODC Africa's story is one of empowerment, resilience, and unwavering commitment to the youth of Africa.
Other notable programs that VODC Africa has embarked on is Symposium 2018, which focused on the theme Entrepreneurship, the Gateway to Financial Freedom. VODC Africa also embarked on Entrepreneurship and Career Fair Summit in 2023, which was held at the Accra City Hall under the theme Harnessing and Exploiting the 21st Century Economic Opportunities in Entrepreneurship and Career Development. All Leaders Orientation Summit 2023 was organized for and other schools. Another project we embarked on, that is worthy to mention is the community oriented project that we embarked on in the northern region of Ghana, where we established training center for weaving of smocks and sewing of kente, which was aimed at reducing the number of young ladies who migrate from the northern region to the city of Accra and Kumasi business in region to give them sustainable green jobs.
Project 1, Clean Accra. This initiative focused on improving waste management in Accra. It involved constructing biogas facilities. These converted organic waste into biogas for cooking, distributing dustbin waste segregation, and engaged students from St. Mary Senior High School in environmental activities, fostering a sense of responsibility. Project 2, Sustainable Climate Financing Project. The second project involved researching the feasibility of a climate levy. Key components included conducting empirical research. This assessed the potential impact.
Thank you, VODC Africa, for this beautiful initiative. A round of applause for Team VODC Africa and Team NILEF. Last night, I had a conversation with a convener, and then this was his voice. I'm like, boss, are you okay? And then he said, pressure. Let's give it up for Daniel Asumadu. Daniel, you've done a yeoman's job. We are all proud of you. Now, I would like to acknowledge some sponsors. For people or institutions who have, with our panel, we have the conversations surrounding our theme. I would like to acknowledge a few of our guests that are here. Dr. Frank Ohene, the Ashanti Regional Minister, is here. Welcome, sir. Round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, NPP flag bearer aspirant, is also here. Sir, we are grateful to you for your presence. Fatima Abubakar, thank you so much for being here. She's a former information minister. Mr. Daniel Matalon is here all the way. Sir, we are grateful for you to be here. Daniel Matalon is a speaker. He's also joining us today. Last year we had him on the Zoom call, but today, this year, 2025, he's graced us with his presence. Sir, we are grateful for your presence. Apostle Kingsley Adai is a resident minister for the Pentecost International Worship Center. Apostle, you are welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Apostle Christian Chepoy is also here. He's also a minister of the Church of Pentecost. He's a head of ministerial formation at Pentecost University. Thank you. We will take the spoken words. So we have a beautiful lady here who is ready with her spoken word. Let's invite Adobia Sari for a soul-striking spoken word. Adobia, please come. A round of applause for her.
Hi everyone, how are we doing? If you're here to grow, clap once. If you're here to shine, clap twice. Great, you're amazing. I didn't come here to perform. I'm here to share my heart. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find your own reflection in my words, okay? I'm doing this with you. There's a call and response in what I'm about to do. So when I say, who leads? You respond, we lead. Who builds? We build. Hey, are there youth people? Who builds? Who rises? Great. So we are children of fire and clay, molded by history, forged in the furnace of struggle, yet carrying embers of tomorrow in our palms. They say youth are the future or are the leaders of tomorrow. But tell me, what is tomorrow if today keeps collapsing under the weight of yesterday's mistakes? We are not lazy. We are not lost. We are not the next. We are the now. We are the restless hands that type code at midnight. We are the bold voices that refuse silence in boardrooms. We are the dreamers that refuse to fold or shrink in the shadows. But the world is multipolar, a spinning compass of crisis and opportunities. Climate change rages, debt, eka, nyomo, efe, piles high as mountains. Inequality digs its roots deeper than the baobab. Yet, when decisions are made, those of us who inherit the cost are usually forgotten. Still we rise, like seeds through cracked concrete, like rivers carving valleys, like kente threads, like Nana Berima is wearing here, weaving strength through every tear. We are architects of an economy that must outlive slogans. We are the innovators turning scarcity into science. We are the leaders of tomorrow who do not look into the lens of yesterday, but will carve new visions with clarity. Leadership is not a chair to sit in. It is a fire to carry. It is a covenant with the unborn. And if the world is multipolar, then let youth be the binding magnetic force that holds it together. So hear this. We will not wait. We will not whisper. We will not shrink. We will not fold. We are here. The power of 1 billion dreams in Africa's beating chest. The promise of today. The voice of vision. The promise of today. Delivered with courage. Sealed in hope. Written in sweat. Who leads? Who builds? Who rises? Let the record show that when the world called for leaders, we did not wait for tomorrow. We became the answer today. Who leads? Who builds? Who rises? We were told last year that the world is multipolar, so emerging leaders must rise. We answered this year. The youth is definitely the gateway that carries vision, the path that carries vision into sustainable tomorrow. Who leads? Who builds? Who rises? Thank you.
Leads. Oh, who leads? Who rises? Who builds? Thank you, my dear. That was a lovely one. Thank you so much for that powerful spoken words. We also like to acknowledge the presence of more dignitaries in our midst. We have Mr. Richard Ahenkra. Richard, welcome. A round of applause for Richard. Mr. Ebenezer Minta is here. A round of applause for Mr. Ebenezer Minta. Kwenni Hatiaka, am I right? Kwenni Had, is she here? GMB 2024. A round of applause for her. We will get into the panel sessions or discussions shortly, but we'll take some musical interlude from the military band. We'll just take a few of them, and then we'll set the tone for the discussions this morning. Military, take it away. Ghana Military Band, thank you. Thank you so much, Ghana Military Band. A round of applause for the military band. Oh, a round of applause for the Ghana Military Band. We are here for a certain conversation. We are here for our emerging leaders. We are here to build our nation. And we are looking at what the youth or tool set youth need to move Ghana forward. And we have a distinguished panel here who will be doing that for us. We strictly are asking all speakers to, speak within time, less than 5 minutes, so that we can have, conversations, proper conversations here, and then the audience can also have their questions. Our first speaker for the day is Honorable Frank Ohene. He's Ashanti Regional Minister. Media, take it away. Can we have his profile?
Is a Ghanaian medical doctor, academic, and public servant currently serving as the Ashanti Regional Minister. He brings a unique blend of expertise in healthcare, leadership, and governance to his role. He holds a BSc in Medical Laboratory Sciences and an MBc-HB from the University of Ghana, a Doctor of Medical Laboratory Sciences from the University of Development Studies, and an MBA from Accra Business School. Dr. Ohene has held several leadership positions, including Ashanti Regional Secretary of the National Democratic Congress and parliamentary candidate for Mampong in 2020. His appointment as the Regional Minister in 2025 reflects his commitment to regional development, healthcare advancement, and youth empowerment.
Thank you very much, Nana Chairman, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, former leaders present here. I bring you greetings from the Garden City of West Africa, Ashanti region for that matter. And I want to commend the leaders of VODC Africa for putting this together. As a former student leader and youth leader, I know what it takes and what goes into planning of these kind of events. So we don't take it lightly. And students gathered here, I also want to encourage you that there's a forum for us all to learn from each other, to be able to become good leaders for our motherland and also for Africa at large. Having said that, as a young minister for this administration, I should tell you that I have been through a lot of areas in a very younger stage. And as a young leader, you will definitely face what I call the young leaders tag. The young leaders tag is the doubt that comes to mind when, as a younger person, you strive to lead, especially in difficult areas. I remember clearly when I was in level 600, final year medical school. Whilst preparing for my final year medical exam, I was equally running for Member of Parliament for Mampong constituency. So you can understand how crazy it was having to combine at that level. Equally, when I was running for Regional Secretary for my party, NDC in 2022, I was the youngest to ever attempt such a position. So you could equally understand the doubts that will come in the minds of a lot. After 2024 election, little did I know that every single step you take as a young leader, you may not know who would be watching. And clearly, His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama was watching, for which reason I've had the opportunity to serve as regional minister and the youngest, for that matter, in this administration. I want to say this to encourage you, that if I've been able to navigate all these complexities, then you can, and you will be able to even do beyond what I've been able to do and I've been able to achieve even at this age. The short topic I was given was youth empowerment through political journey in Ghana. So when it comes to political journey in Ghana, no one would feed you with spoon and cup unless you purge yourself and distinguish yourself as a youth leader. And clearly, you would have to take advantage of the opportunities within the leadership setup of the country to be able to build yourself to that level where great leaders would notice you and be able to project you to that pedestal. Youth empowerment is young people having the power and the tool to shape their own future. So having the tool, having the power to be able to shape your own future. And this is important for us for a couple of reasons. I'll pick just 4 of them. It will help you understand the process of nation building. So whenever a youth is brought on the table of decision making, it helps us know how it is done. And whilst we know how it is done, it helps us own the future, because we are part of the process of creating that future and developing our motherland. And it also helps us to take responsibility. And the ultimate for me is that it teaches you what we call troubleshooting. Whenever there is a problem, you would not throw your hands in despair, or you not give up. You would be able to stand and make sure that you solve each and every single problem, because you are part of the process in making sure we build the future that we all want. Here in Ghana, and upon examining our laws, I've noticed that all our affirmative laws are gender-based. There is no deliberate affirmative law that is youth-inclined, instead of, in terms of holding governments, in terms of quota for youth participation in leadership, among others. So it means that our laws have given youth leadership and youth participation in leadership at the discretion of the president and the leaders when elected. However, when it comes to the entrepreneurship aspect, skill development, definitely there is YE, there is NEIP to help with that aspect. But when it comes to leadership and participation of the youth, there is not much to be said about that. So the first thing and the first advocacy is that from here, VODC, probably together with the leadership of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, you can see how best we can be deliberate in making sure there are affirmative actions, in making sure clear quotas are defined for youth leadership in Ghana. Despite that, the NYA, that's the National Youth Authority, through the National Youth Policy 2010 and as revised in 2022, provide avenues for more like a mentorship platform at the basic level for youth parliaments, youth brigades, among others, to be able to mimic what is done at the leadership level. And we believe so much that governments, and for that matter, successive governments, will make sure the youth, NYA, that's the youth, National Youth Authority, is empowered to be able to decentralize more and do this effectively. Beyond all this, at the school level, there are opportunities in making sure that I see a lot of students here. You take advantage and also be able to participate the little you can at each level of your training. At the basic level, those of you who have kids at the basic level, let them run for head girl, head boy positions. It really helps and grooms them at that level. At the high school level, there is the SRC that represents students at that level, or youth at that level. At the universities, there are SRCs, there are JCLs, there are other unions that form under NUCs, i.e. USAG, GAPS, NACS, NASAC, GRASAC, and then ultimately across Africa, we have what we call the All African Students Union, ASU for that matter. The nurses here, you have one under GIMTA. The teachers here, you have one under TAG. These are all avenues for you to be able to groom your leadership potentials moving through the leadership ladder. The religious leadership and the religious bodies equally have youth groups and youth leadership at that level that help us and teach us and also groom us to be good leaders. I'm a proud member of the Church of Pentecost, and I've served as a youth leader before, so I really know practically what they imbibe in us as youth leaders. At the local government level, we have the unit committees. So don't say that you are a graduate, so you are beyond forming or being part of the unit committees. We have the aerial councils, we have assembly members, which you can still run and be part of the district assembly. You can also run for MPs, and when you are lucky and you have a leader who is youth focused, you will be able to have the opportunity of serving on cabinets to serve as ministers and also to serve in other key government opportunities. So I mentioned one, that government should make sure we make deliberate efforts in amending our laws and making sure we have quotas for youth participation in governance. The second is to help fund youth innovation and youth programs like this. So VODC are making an advocacy for you that government should, and I also want to charge us to be able to support each other and build a network of youth leaders who are there for each other no matter the time. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ohene is the Ashanti Regional Minister. Sir, please take your seat in the panel seat over there, and then we'll take the next. Please, here. Any of them is fine, the black seats. So we take our next speaker. Oh, he said, you mentioned a couple of groups, and then he said, you know, they should get in there. We'll see how easy for the youth to get into politics later. We'll talk about that later. We'll have Engineer Felix Etrim. Engineer Felix Etrim, are you here? Media, let's roll.
Felix K. Atrim is the Chief Executive Officer of FEDEMS Group, a company he founded with siblings in 2014. He's a certified professional engineer by the Ghana Institution of Engineering and has close to 2 decades of expertise in project management and civil engineering. He leads FEDEMS in providing consultancy services to many reputable organizations, including the Jospon Group of Companies, Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, HDL Farms, Glofert, Ghana Railway Development Authority, Local Government Service, the District Assemblies, and Pentecost University. Under his leadership and guidance, the FEDEMS Group currently operates 9 subsidiaries. FEDEMS was established to primarily create employment opportunities and provide training for young professionals, and he has no regrets. As a company aspiring to build a culture of high-performing personnel in consultancy and professional services, Felix intends to grow the business into a vibrant company capable of competing fiercely with international firms. Felix has had an outstanding professional career. He began as a geodetic engineer and topographical service specialist with associated consultants working on projects such as the Achimota Transport Terminal Extension, Millennium Development Authority, and the Volta Regional Road Project from 2008 to 2011. Additionally, he held the position of Estate and Development Manager for Pentecost University from 2012 to 2018. Furthermore, Felix.
Thank you very much. Were you talking about me? You scared me a bit. So, Nana Chairman, my big brother, Honorable Minister, my friend, and the big man, like the chairman of the Church of Pentecost will say, the big one, Honorable Ken Agyapong. I've been waiting to meet him, so it's a great opportunity to see him here. And then Apostles Checkboy and Kingsley Adai. I'm a member of the Church of Pentecost. I'm an elder. So as an elder, if you don't acknowledge your apostles, you can become a member from the elder. So I have to just, the two of them, they are my very good friends and brothers. My brother Daniel and the beautiful wife. Thank you so much. All speakers, invited guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Minister has spoken, and so for me, I don't have much to say, because when a minister talks, an ordinary engineer doesn't have to talk much. Otherwise, when I go for a job, he won't give me. So I have to play some politics here. Now, for me, I just want to say that this thing that VODC is doing, it's great. If we can put our hands together for him, it's great. I met Daniel when he was in Pentecost University. Then I was the Estate and Development Manager. And from the very first day, he was different. He didn't look like any ordinary student, because his aspiration was top-notch. And he kept coming to my office as the Estate and Development Manager to ask me questions. And sometimes I felt, this guy, is he here to study or is he here to do other things? But God has been good, and this is how far he's come. So we want to say that God bless you and thank you for what you are doing. Now, for the youth, we are talking about empowering the youth. In the Church of Pentecost, we say youth ends at 35, right? So I'm past that age. But I'm looking at it when I was younger, that the youth, our problem has always been how we embrace the opportunities that come to us. And that is what I want to talk about. You see, the system gives us a lot of opportunities, but I think that the youth would have to go back, sometimes sit down, relax, and then think through what we want to do. Because we are youth, and we can never be wiser than those who are ahead of us. For Africa, there's a lot that we can achieve as youth. But I say that our problem has always been that just because we get to know new things, we think that we are probably wiser than those who are ahead of us. And that is why you don't see a lot of youth doing so well. If you look at Daniel's strategy, God has given him wisdom to do a lot of things, but he still consults the people who have gone through the cycle, people who have gone ahead of him, to pick up things from him, from them. And that is how you develop as youth. From my experience, I've realized that most of us get opportunities, but we either abuse it or we don't make the best out of it. For example, Honorable Ken Agyapong and Minister and other people, Nana here will tell you that they have tried to help so many youth, but at the end of the day, these guys disappoint. Why? Some of us, when we get small money, we think that we have reached that level. And in fact, I'm using small because riches is relative. So maybe you get 100,000, you sign a check of 100,000, 1 million, 2 million, and you think that you have arrived. Once that pride starts setting in, you lose it. So what I want to say to the youth is that the opportunities are there, but it's about how we manage the opportunities. I spoke about cultural intelligence the other time, and I think this is a bigger forum that I want to just use 2 minutes to talk about. I've always said that wherever you go, wherever you find yourself, there's a culture and a way of behavior of the persons that you relate with. And it's important that whenever you are given an opportunity, you learn the cultures. Nana here is my very good friend. We meet, we talk, we laugh, we eat together. We sit in the same car. We go to so many places. But when I see him as Nana, I have to give him that respect as Nana. I cannot say that because I'm that close to him, I relate to him anyhow in public. That is the problem of the youth today. I am part of you, so I'm mentioning it. That's our problem. For example, today I'm here, I'm sitting with all these big men. I'm sitting with Honorable Ken. If he becomes president, and I'm going to see him at the Flagstaff House. If he becomes president, and I go to see him at the Flagstaff House, and he tells me to wait, I cannot get angry because I've met him before and say that, why is he telling me to wait? No, it is protocol, and that is the culture. But most of us don't understand that. We think that once we have a relationship with someone, we can just treat them anyhow. I get a lot of messages, I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of texts, and people want to meet you. But when you read the tone of what they have said, you feel like you don't want to meet them. There are others that when they send you a message or they meet you and talk to you, you feel within yourself that you want to help them, even when you cannot do it. So what I want to encourage all of us is that as youth, the opportunities are there. Master the intelligence of the cultural environment and use it. If you are visiting a minister, visit him as a minister. If you are visiting an elderly, talk to him as an elderly person. If you are dealing with your equals, find a way to relate to them so that when the opportunity comes, you'll be able to use it. I am of the view that Ghana has a lot to give, and we as youth have a lot to take. But the gap is that we are not thinking in our context. Let us not overthink. Don't overthink. It is good to think outside the box, but when it comes to culture, look into the box and see what you can do within the box to make the culture better. So it is very important that from today, all the opportunities that come to us, let us harness it and look at how we'll make it better. I want to thank you all for listening. I don't know if I've made sense, but I think I've said something. So as an elder of the Church of Pentecost, I'll say God bless you all. Amen.
God bless you too. Cultural intelligence, very profound. Thank you. So we are building up to the panel discussion. Very soon we'll be delving into all the nuggets they've prepared to share with us. Who's our next speaker? Media, please help us.
Richard Kwate is a doctorand, a management consultant, a corporate trainer, and currently a lecturer of leadership and management at the MBA level at the School of Business and Law, Regent College London, RCL. He has 2 decades of industry experience in Ghana and in the UK, predominantly in banking and higher education practice. He was the CEO of the erstwhile All Time Finance Ghana Limited, a former deputy managing director of First Trust Limited, and an ex-chief business officer of the Beige Bank Limited. He steered the change management process from Amalgamated Bank Limited to Bank of Africa Limited as the head of human resources. Richard is a governing council member and a visiting lecturer at the University of Gold Coast. He obtained his MA Communication Studies and MBA Education from Leeds University in the UK and Australian Institute of Business, with a Global Executive Management Training Certificate from the Harvard Business School, Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Richard studied for his postgraduate diploma in marketing from CIM UK and postgraduate diploma in business administration from KNUST in Ghana. Richard has over a decade of boardroom and executive experience. He is the author of 2 self-leadership books, Your Journey to the Top and Are You a Good Leader? He is the principal trainer and a director of New Africa Leadership Institute, NALI, where he focuses on mentoring the next corporate executives. Richard Kwate Nahinkwa.
Hello. Thank you very much, Nana Chair. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, I'm so happy meeting you again. Regional Minister, distinguished speakers and dignitaries, I think we almost forgot the landlord as well. We are happy meeting all of you, ladies and gentlemen. There's one thing I want to do, with your permission. I always believe that a nation that fails to honor men and women that sacrifice for that nation makes us people who don't want to maybe sacrifice for that nation as well. So today, there's a reason it's a holiday. I think so. So if we can be upstanding for the men and women who have done great for this country with Kwame Nkrumah in person, we have to remember today, just a minute, please, just let's do that. If you take that out of my minute, I'll be very happy. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. May the souls of the men and women who had actually labored for this country be remembered. Thank you. So today I'm here for this session, and I think before I also proceed, we can put our hands together for the organizers of this show. Daniel Asumani in question. Well done. Well done. It takes a lot to bring the youth from the length and breadth of this country to come in here with great persons here to also provide mentorship. For me, I was given the topic that is the main topic, and it is on the National Youth Leadership Conference on, is there enough youth empowerment? I cannot be quick to say yes or no, but I think that there's always room for improvement. That is what I can say. To start with, we have about 1.2 billion youth across the globe. 1.2 billion. And out of the 1.2 billion, the youth forms about 18%. And Africa alone contributes about 42%. Yes. And it is projected to hit 75% by 2030. That is, if we extend the youth from 15 to 24, then to 35. Then we hit on about 75%. In Ghana, with a population of about 34 million, the youth contributes about 40%. Here, I'm talking about 15 to 24 years. And During the last census, within the youth 15 to 24 years, we have 50 males, 50% males, 50% females. So basically, it tells us that as a country, we have enormous human resource talent that we can tap into. I think we are quick to focus on the natural resources. But if you go to countries like in the UK, in the West, the focus is on the human resources. And I think this is where we need to look at as a country. Now, there are three phases of life, work, and career when it comes to, life itself. Between 0 to 25 is the learning phase. Between 25 to 45 is the earning phase. So you learn to earn. Then after 65, basically the burning phase. Obviously, then we head to retirement. Now, the most crucial ages is between 18 years all the way to 24. Reason being, that is where the youth try to discover themselves. That is where mentoring becomes very, very important. If we don't do that and we allow the youth to find their way, they hit a Waterloo. So obviously what happens is that they are always afraid of the future instead of being excited about the future. So how can we, I believe that as a country, come in and as a people to support the youth to be more excited about the future, not being afraid of the future? And I think this is where the question comes in again. Is there enough youth empowerment? I think that we can do things differently. How do we do things differently? We need to look at reinventing government platforms, right? I did my national service 2 times. We belong to the old school. So you finish your A level, you do one national service. Then when you finish, university, you do another one. Of course, I did the first one. Second one, I was halfway through it. And then I went to study anyway. I came back again. But what do I say? I come back to see the same process and the same structure of the national service. We are using those years, about 20 years, platforms to solve, let me say 1998 for my first one, 1998 structure to fix 2025 issues. How can that be possible? We need to reinvent the way we do things. I personally believe that national service should be a certain platform to allow the youth to come up with their initiative. Somewhere about 7 years ago, I wanted to have a certain conversation with National Service Scheme about how do we prepare the youth before they take off to national service, and how do we even invite them after national service into the world. It's a two-way street. If we don't do the first one well, we will not achieve the second one. How do you do the first one? For example, people are going to be transferred to Atebubu, Sheshe, Jobrase, Northern region. They need to know. They should have cultural intelligence. Beyond that cultural intelligence, they should know what are the opportunities out there. So when they go, they are not looking at themselves as just going to serve, but they are going to be entrepreneurial to the opportunities that are there. We need to reinvent, I think, government platforms. We need to focus more into, if you like, digital tools, because that is the future. That is the way to go. We can talk about ethical leadership. We can talk about, integrity, all of that. Beyond that, digital leadership is changing the world now. And I remember I was lucky to be part of a program 8 years ago at Harvard Business School. And then Kaplan, our good old Kaplan, said this. He said, if you think, at that time we were doing a course on how to manage millennials. And he said, guys, if you think managing millennials is difficult, let's wait for the next generation. So as a corporate trainer, I do a lot of training on how to manage Gen Zs. Now, in some 10 years to come, Gen Alpha is on the way. Now, the question is, how do we communicate to Gen Zs? We need to learn. I have personally come to understand that when you're talking to a Gen Z and you don't have a very good information about technology in the middle of the conversation, you've lost it. There should be something technology in the middle. There should be something social media in the middle. The question is, how are we going to engage them, and how do we engage them rightly? And the final thing is that we need to learn to listen to them. And I always say that listening is in 3 phases. Sometimes we listen well, but we don't listen to the end. If you want to talk to the new generation, listen to the end. And if you are able to achieve this, I think that this forum will answer some of the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. And we'll be exploring into more details when we get to the panel session. Media will help us with our next speaker and panelists, please.
Daniel Matlon is a social impact investor, media producer, and visionary entrepreneur whose work bridges innovation, finance, and social transformation. He is the founder of the global socio-economic campaign, #IsThereEnough, a movement advancing conversations on financial inclusion and sustainability. The initiative has attracted the attention of policymakers, educators, and private sector leaders across Europe, Africa, the Americas, and Latin America, promoting the idea that future economies can be modeled more on human resources than natural ones. As the co-founder of Impact Launchpad, a social impact investment banking and advisory firm, Daniel is pioneering a risk-adjusted model for sustainable finance. This framework is designed to mobilize greater pools of investment capital, accelerating progress towards United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Through this model, Impact Launchpad aims to establish 100 global centers for non-profit impact investment to empower more than 50,000 projects worldwide over the next 15 years, working in close partnership with government and private interests alike. Daniel's entrepreneurial journey also spans media and technology. As the
the future of this country, and not just this country, but all of the continent. Give yourselves a hand here. I'm going to ask that the first slide show there, and we've never worked together, me and the people in the back there, so we'll see how our slides go. I was recently introduced by somebody I greatly respect to a group of distinguished leaders who called me Mr. Possibility. I like to think of myself as Mr. Realization. And can I have my first slide up there for a moment, please? Am I going without slides? I will have to do it from memory. So my friends at Group Partners, who are very distinguished consultants and strategists to the UN and major corporations, they told me that they spend sometimes 2 to 3 months before they come into a program or a project that's usually stuck. Has anybody ever felt stuck in this room? Raise your hand if you ever felt stuck, right? Well, you know what they would say is, when you're asking the wrong question, you're solving the wrong problem, right? I could leave the stage right now with just that little nugget, and I promise you, if you begin to ask, every time that I am in any kind of struggle, I'm usually clearer on what I do not want than what I do, and I'm usually asking the wrong question. So the right question we're asking here is there enough youth empowerment? Now we ask the question, is there enough, in a very general way, because there is no yes or no answer to that question. It's conditional, it's situational. Asking, is there enough clean water, is not the same in this country as it is in mine, right? And the technology that can empower us to be able to do that does not come into being without us connecting with each other. Because what I am very interested in, since this is an economic forum and a leadership forum, is do we really know what economics is in the modern world with respect to the economists in the room? I would argue that we don't. In fact, if I asked you this question, is there a fixed amount of money in the world? Can anybody answer that question? Because I've asked that question all over the world and nobody can. Because money is not a thing. What's really a thing is building wealth. And wealth and money are not the same thing. Wealth, as my mentor Buckminster Fuller said, is our ability to achieve a standard of living and sustain it over time. Wealth is survival over time, right? There are certain individuals in this room who have maybe hundreds of years of wealth, and maybe some others in the room that have only a few hours or a few days of existing wealth. So my question to you is, if that's what wealth is, how do we produce more? And you only have to look at my relationship with Daniel, which would be on a slide if I had my slides working, and you would see our picture together, and you would understand what wealth is. Here's a young man who had an idea in his mind when he was only in his early 20s. He had a vision of all of you being here in this room, and look exactly what has taken place. How did that happen? How do those of us with an idea make something happen and those of us with ideas struggle? What Daniel understood is that agreement is what builds wealth. If I want to build my standard of living higher than it is today, it isn't money per se, it is agreement that builds that. And so if we ask, is there enough youth empowerment, do we not have to ask what power is? What is power? Is power only the people in power? I don't think so. I am deliberately simple. So all of you who want to take issue with my definition of power, I'm sure there are other ways to define power. But I would argue that power is the ability to get things done. Very simple. If that's a true statement, how in fact is power increased? Not just wealth, it's increased by agreement also. In fact, if you look at all of the world as a whole, is there enough? As a whole. Is there enough water on this planet? We throw away 40% of all the food on this planet we make every day. Is there enough food on the planet? Where our not enoughs are, where our scarcities are, is local and special and individual and exceptional. It looks completely opposite. It looks like wealth is a prize for only a few of us. This is not true. We live in 2025. I'm going to argue every one of you in this room with a good idea has more power, the ability to get things done, than the 1% of 20 years ago had. Do you understand this? Here in 2025, you have more power than the 1% of 20 years ago. Would anybody have not enjoyed the standard of living of a 1% 20 years ago? This is the moment that you sit in.
Right.
Now, I'm sorry. I'm off my slides. I must make this point.
We'd like to wrap up and then
yes, I understand. If your wealth and your power is increased by your ability to make agreement, the most important agreement that you can ever make is the agreement with yourself. Who am I? Your identity is your real agreement. I am my choices. You are two people. I am my history and I am my choices. Ghana is its history and Ghana is its choices. Humanity is its history and humanity is its choices. This is your responsibility, your opportunity, as the gentleman said. That's what comes with power. We always hear responsibility. I'm going to suggest to you your opportunity is to make choices, right? If Daniel and I had not made the choice to consider our sameness with each other rather than our obvious difference, I would not only not be in this room, I would not be able to bring all the resources and investment that we hope to build together right here in Ghana. Every one of you who walks out of this room with at least one new relationship could lead to something just like Daniel and I being here and me being in your august company. So make sure you're not only listening to the speakers, but you're making contacts with at least one person you did not know before.
Fantastic.
That may be the source of your power.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Daniel Matalon. Thought-provoking indeed. So media will let us know who our next speaker is, please.
Kwaminka is President and CEO of the Center for Economic Research and Policy Analysis, CEPA, Africa's leading economic policy institute focused on driving the continent's economic growth and sustainable development through research and policy analysis. He's a highly regarded economist and entrepreneur and brings to bear a formidable blend of strategic foresight, analytical depth, transformative development, and a passion for institutionalizing practical economic policies. He's a thought leader and columnist for a leading online publication of the Business and Financial Times, leading discourse in key economic subject matters. His distinguished body of work spans financial systems research, economic policy ideation and formulation, and enterprise innovation, positioning him as a thought leader within Ghana's economic and organizational development landscape. With a rich background in financial and monetary economics, Mr. Kwaminka has contributed significantly to policy analysis, including the flagship Gold for Oil policy. As the founder and group head of ACAM Group, a Ghanaian conglomerate with subsidiaries spanning financial and investment advisory, organizational learning and development.
Thank you very much. I am flattered with the accolades. I want to stay humble. Nana Chair, and the biggest brother to us all, thank you. And all honorable members in the House, I say thank you for this opportunity. Honorable Ken, permit me to give a showdown. Permit me. And also to be sure that this showdown will lead to some possibilities. If not, we will reset. So once Honorable Ken has given me the opportunity, then I'm sure Honorable Opon Nkrumah says I can make it possible. So I am doing that. Thank you very much. So some few years ago, over 20 years ago, I met a young man. And this young man had just left the university. And right after the university, traveled to the United States to look for a job. You know how we go out of the country and we decide to look for jobs at McDonald's and Burger King and all the likes to be able to keep hope alive. Few years down the line, this young man decided to come back to Ghana and start his national service. He is placed in a very little corner at the Ministry of Manpower. How many of you remember Ministry of Manpower? And that corner he was sitting was the corner where the security man used to sit. Why was he there? He was there because the security man told him that there was no place or there was no seat for the national service personnel. So this young man decided that, okay, no problem. If there is no seat, then I'll have to find myself something to do. And this young man decided to find internship and do national service at the same time. So whilst this young man was doing internship and national service at the same time, he was offered an opportunity to become a research officer in the organization. When this young man started the research officer position, he spotted an opportunity. And that opportunity was that in that organization, they were supposed to be running training programs. And that training programs had not been happening for some years. So this young man decided that, wait, I wanted to become an economist. Nevertheless, I have spotted an opportunity in the organization that I am currently in, which says that there is no training happening within the training department. This young man decides that, okay, I will take this training department and then visit all the HRs in the banks and start creating that training that I would love to see. Fast forward 4 months down the line, this young man comes out with his first training program, and that training department now becomes the cash cow of the entire organization after 2 years. Then this young man, after creating value, is poached into another bank at the age of 28. 28 years. What is he going to do? He's going to head a department, and at 30, to not only head a department, but become an executive member of the department. That young man spotted an opportunity outside what he had planned to do. Few years down the line, this young man built himself very well through personal development, and now ensured that that corporate that he wanted to be in as an economist, this time he will create that same corporate by himself. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how SEPA started. And I am that young man. So I came to encourage you that as young as you are, yes, whether NDC, whether MPP, they might not have gotten it right yet. But one thing is assured, spot the little opportunity when you can. Because if you are waiting for that perfect opportunity, then you have no opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ebenezer Minta. Okay. He has made us aware the possibility of giving poverty a showdown. All right. I liked it. Right. We'll find out who our next speaker is as well. Media will assist us. Thank you.
Nakhi Titiaka Oasis Ibrahim, affectionately known as Titiaka, is the reigning Ghana's most beautiful 2024 queen. Representing the Savannah region, she made history as the first hijab-wearing contestant to win the prestigious crown, marking a remarkable milestone for inclusivity and representation in Ghana's cultural space. Currently a law student at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA, Titiaka embodies determination, intelligence, and grace. Despite almost missing her audition due to academic exams, her perseverance and faith carried her through an unforgettable victory. Her crowning moment on October 6, 2024 at the National Theatre not only brought pride to Savannah region, but also inspired many young women to boldly pursue their dreams. Titiaka has been a passionate advocate for youth empowerment, climate action, and education. Through initiatives such as Sweet Smiles Project, she has championed tree planting, recycling, literacy development, and mentorship in schools and orphanages. She continues to use her platform to raise awareness on sustainability, climate resilience, and social impact, positioning herself as a young leader with a vision for better Ghana. Titiaka is more than a beauty queen. She is a trailblazer, role model, and voice of change. Her journey reflects resilience, purpose, and transformative power of believing in one's dream.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, the chair, the distinguished guests and personalities present, fellow young leaders, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this great initiative, VODC Africa, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to better understand the topic before us or the challenge before us. We must first of all break down the key words in the topic. First of all, what is climate change? You don't fight against something that you don't know, right? Yes. So climate change is the long-term shifts or change in weather patterns over a period of time as a result of human activities like deforestation, like emission of greenhouse gases, amongst others. I know a lot of people think that climate change is something that is abstract, but I'm here to let you know that climate change is one of the biggest threats affecting our generation. Something must be done about it. There are a lot of effects of climate change. For instance, unpredictable rainfall patterns. I know initially in the past, we could predict that maybe at the beginning of the year from June, July, there will be heavy rains and all that. And in Ghana, most of our farmers rely heavily on rainfall in order to plant their crops. But here is the case, we can no longer predict the rainfall patterns. And this leads to food insecurity. You go to the market and you realize that the prices of food become very expensive and you don't understand. It's because of climate change. And this is something that we as youth can work on to ensure that climate change becomes a thing of the past. And how do we do this? Through climate resilience. Climate resilience is the ability to foresee, predict, come up with initiatives that will help us adapt and recover from climate shocks. In Ghana, about 57% of our population is made up of the youth. And 10 to 15 years away from now, we are those that will feel the effects of climate change the most. To know how important or urgent climate change is, it is even evident in the 1992 Constitution. Under Article 41K, which states that it is the responsibility and duty of every citizen of Ghana to make sure that we protect and safeguard our environment, not just for ourselves, but also for the future generation. And climate change does not just present challenges, but it also comes with opportunities that we, the youth, can take and make sure that we help solve the issue of climate change whilst we empower ourselves as well. And this is through building climate resilient initiatives. For instance, an act as simple as tree planting can help save the environment. An act as simple as not burning your waste and proper disposal of waste can help save the environment. An act as simple as recycling and upcycling initiatives. For instance, under my organization, which is Eco Green Oasis Legacy, we organize workshops where we train young women, the youth, and persons with disability on how to recycle waste, turn waste to wealth. For instance, you see a used car tie or a car tie that is worn out, but we see a means to make money out of it and also protect the environment at the same time. We can change used car ties into sofas, into chairs. So you don't just protect the environment through this, but you are also creating a means for you to also make money and help. It's even a means of employment. And through this, if we empower a lot of youth to take part in initiatives like this, it can even go as far as reducing the unemployment rate in the society. Now, how do we empower youth climate-led initiatives? By creating capacity building programs like this. By educating the youth, because before you solve a problem, you must know the root cause of the problem and come up with innovative ways in order to solve that problem. So thank you, VODC Africa, for giving us this platform to let more youth know about climate change and how they can take part in solving this issue. Another way of empowering youth-led climate resilience initiatives is through policy inclusion. Let's include our youth in the policies that we make, in decision-making processes that involve climate change, because we have very innovative youth in our society that can come up with innovative solutions to climate change. Another one is access to resources. We have a lot of youth that have passion for protecting our environments. They have wonderful ideas, but they do not have enough resources to scale up their initiatives. So we should give the youth access to resources, to funding, to help scale up our initiatives. And another one is partnerships. You cannot do this alone. And we cannot solve climate change alone. We must do this together as a community. So through building partnerships with international organizations, with government agencies, amongst others, we can make this dream a reality. I want to say thank you once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And together we can make a difference. So please, whatever you listen to or you hear in this auditorium today, don't just sleep over it or let us pass through one ear and go out. But make sure you take steps in order to actualize whatever you hear today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you very much. So we've got into an important session, and most of you didn't see my fall. Huh? It was an epic fall. A round of applause for akufo-addo. Right. So at this session, the topic is crucial. And we are here to talk about the youth, tools to empower them. I will start with you. You talked about climate change. It's a fancy word, climate change. So we do summits, and then we have programs like that. We go to the UN for climate change discussions. How are we making climate change attractive for the young person? You are young, you've done it. So how do we make it very attractive for young people to partner?
Thank you, and I think it's a very important question. And as a young person, I felt the same way too, especially when I was here in UPSA. I saw a lot of programs on climate change, and I was asking myself, what at all is this climate change? Because mostly when people are talking about climate change, they use a lot of big terms that we don't understand, and sometimes people see the topic to be boring. So I decided to take steps to do research and get to understand what climate change is. And even I was the SRC Women's Commissioner for UPSA. So when I did my research and realized how important climate change is to us and to the society, I decided to take steps to make climate change very easy for the young people to understand. So during my stay here in UPSA as the SRC Women's Commissioner, I organized the Face of UPSA, which is a beauty pageant, and it deals with education, entertainment, and empowering young ladies. So I decided to inculcate the topic of climate change into it, which had to do with the main topic or theme for that beauty pageant last year was based on climate change.
So for young persons who aren't interested in pageants, again, how do we attract them for this?
So with that particular initiative, there were a lot of young people that came here to watch, and even though they were not part of the contestants, but through the entertainment, they were able to learn about climate change subconsciously. You get it? So it's not... Yes, so we should make climate change, the topic of climate change, very attractive. And even in my work, I go to schools, and instead of just talking about climate change, we make it very practical so that they get to understand the need for climate action and take steps towards that.
Thank you very much. This is the VODC Africa NILE 2025 panel discussion. On the panel, I have Honorable Dr. Frank Ohene is the Ashanti Regional Minister. Round of applause for him. Engineer Felix Etrim is here. Mr. Richard Ahemkwa is here. Queen Nihat Tiaka is here. Mr. Daniel Metalon is here. And Ebenezer Minka is also here. Mr. Minister, let's talk about politics and young people. You were talking about, several interventions that young people could get in there. Now it's looking as if you're not already a politician, as a young person, it's quite difficult for you to get in there. How are we making politics right now in Ghana attractive and easy for young persons who want to also make impact, join or enter in there?
Thank you very much. So it's a myth. You don't necessarily need to be born by a politician or have a huge person in politics to be able to have the opportunity. Otherwise, the name Ohene doesn't really ring a bell with any of the big states or any of the former presidents or the names you can hear in the circles of Ghana's politics. They are born leaders and they are made leaders. So at any point in time, you can decide to join the cause of leadership. When I was in SHS, I was very quiet and reserved. I joined leadership at level 200 at the university. And since then, I've been very active for almost a decade and a half. So it's all about you as an individual and what you want to do and at what point you want to enter. And when you get that opportunity or you decide to enter, it is up to you to find people who you think you are in love with their ideologies. Get closer to them, get to ask questions, and then you'll be able to define your path well and be able to navigate your way through the complexities. So yes, you can start at any point in time, approach anyone you think that the person's style of leadership is one that attracts you, and I'm sure you'll have that opportunity of doing so. For us, who are already in the game, or who are in the game now, what I think we need to do is to be very accessible to the young ones, so that they don't really struggle navigating their ways from offices to offices to be able to assess us and be able to also tap from our ideologies and the things we have gone through. Once we're able to make ourselves available to the young ones and the up and coming, I'm sure that it should attract them and they should be able to
I'm sure young persons here will have different questions to ask on that. If we can get a microphone to Honorable Agyapong, I would like to take his note. Can we have make a microphone available for Honorable Kennedy Agyapong? I would like to hear his thoughts on this. Do you agree with the minister that politics is attractive to the young persons now, sir?
Good question. Honestly, currently, the way we do politics in this country, I don't think is attractive to the young ones, because Ghanaians now believe that politicians, most of us, we don't speak the truth. And
a round of applause for him.
so even if the youth wants to go into politics, their parents tend to advise them to stay away from politics, because the moment you start doing politics, that is when the day you were born will be told by your opponent and give all sort of information, misinformation about you. So I personally, with my experience, I don't think politics is attractive, and I'll never advise any of my children to go into politics.
Right. So the second part, give the microphone back to him. Honorable Agyapong, the second part of my question is this. If you are not willing to advise your children to be politicians, young persons, there are over 5,000 gathered here right now. How do we make politics attractive? Now, the caveat here, sir, is we go into politics to make money rather than, causing change in the economy. What do we do?
Individual choice. You can decide to go into politics, but anybody who comes to me to take advice from me, I always discourage them. And when they go, into it.
But you are there.
Yeah. So first, when I was going into it, the advice given to me, I didn't take it. But with the experience today, it's not attractive. I'm being brutally frank. So if the youth think going into politics is an end to means or whatever, I'm afraid it's a wrong approach. You need to work on other things.
Thank you, sir. The microphone to Honorable Opong Kroma. Sir, the same question to you. You are quite young, a journalist, a communicator, and you went in there. So sometimes on interviews, people say, I want to be like Honorable Opong Kroma because he's young and he's done that. Same question to you. How do we make politics attractive to the young Ghanaian?
I think first, I'll take a bite on whether a lot more people are getting attracted to politics or other options. And I think that a lot of young people are getting attracted to politics for two reasons. Sometimes they admire the personalities who are involved for various purposes. And also, unfortunately, a lot of people, like my senior Honorable Agyapong mentioned, a lot of people believe that the fastest way to make money is to go into politics. And so you find a lot of young people congregating in that because, and for all of us across the political divide, I think we should admit, over the years, I mean, today we celebrate Dr. Nkrumah's birthday. Over the years, since independence, we have not succeeded in making the broader Ghanaian economy and the pillars in the economy that ordinarily should attract a lot more people, like entrepreneurship and professions. We have not succeeded in making them as rewarding as it should be as against politics. And so I think that particularly for the younger ones who are in and who reflect on this, what we should be looking to do is to use our work, not necessarily to make politics attractive, but to use politics to deal with the broader issues in the society to make the society more attractive. You find millions of young people, who would express the view that if they had their way, they would leave the country. Why? It's because we in the political class from 1957 till now have not succeeded in making the broader Ghanaian economy attractive and rewarding enough. And I think that is what we should be focusing a lot more on.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Back to our panel, Mr. Trim. Entrepreneurship is quite risky. So entrepreneurship is a risky area. Most kids or youth or young persons these days, I complete a university, I want to be in the office. How do we make entrepreneurship super attractive for young persons and not considering the risk factors?
Well, it's true. Thank you. It's true. It's risky. But then let me say that not everyone can just get up and be an entrepreneur. There are some who can be entrepreneurs right from school. Others will have to go through a curve, like learn on jobs and then find something to do. And others will be privileged to be handpicked by somebody and then giving the opportunity to become entrepreneurs. So the most important thing is that wherever you find yourself, just look at the conditions around you to see what can make you become an entrepreneur. And from yourself, there are people who cannot be entrepreneurs. Because to be an entrepreneur in Ghana, like Honorable Nkrumah said, and my brother has said, of course, Honorable Ken has also said, when you are an entrepreneur and you are working in a multi-party democracy state, it is not easy. You know, like Minka said, when you are someone and you are working, you form your company. Like I formed my company in 2014. So people think, okay, you formed it during President Mohammed's time. So you're Mohammed's boy. So if NPP comes, they're like, oh, this guy won't give him a job. By God's grace, you start getting a job and you work. If NDC comes by, they're like, now the purpose for which God made you. I am a Christian and I believe that God always has a purpose for individuals. So you must always ask what your purpose is.
So I've asked what my purpose is. That purpose is the next question to you, sir. I know what my purpose is. I want to do X. Let's say I want to be an Uber driver or, purchase vehicles to start an Uber business. But this is my last coins that I put together. How sure am I that once I put these monies into this business, it's going to yield the right dividends for me?
I think one of the things personally, I'm not a fan of talk shop, basically. I always want us to talk about things that are much more practical. I personally think that there should be a platform and a very good, if you like, framework to develop the youth. So if youth want to get into entrepreneurship, for example, there should be some tax incentives. The taxes for a youth, someone who just finished school to start a business, is going to pay the same tax as someone who has been in business in terms of percentage. The point is that how can he or she navigate his way to the top? The journey is going to be longer if the platform or there are not much framework that helps the youth to come out. That is one. Number two, I also to the youth that, we have a certain platform. If you want to be an Uber driver, come and pick one. Why don't you say that if you can bring a proposal so that you can earn fleet of cars, then you make the youth think big and have a growth mindset. So for me, I personally think that beyond the conversation of my last coin, this is what I have, how can I get in, there should be a certain environment, a platform that can urge the youth to navigate their way to the top more quicker than waiting for the latter.
Right. Thank you very much. Sir, we talk about leadership roles, and then we say, let's young people approach leaders, approach people when you want to start anything. It's very difficult approaching certain persons. Once you go to them, even getting to them is a problem. Now, my question is, how do we build the confidence? I want to see you. I don't know you from nowhere. I've sent a couple of, letters to your office wanting to see you for you to look at my application or shepherd me in my business. How do we make it easier for young persons to approach leadership when they have ideas?
Thank you very much. So I want to say something. Like my brother said, I always choose to be very practical. And let's be very practical. You know, in this country, we think that youth empowerment is a charity. But youth empowerment is not a charity. Most often, when you read manifestos of different political parties, they look at, and you take your time to study it, they are talking about handouts. They're talking about things that they'll give to and you come for scholarship, and then we will give you this seat. Look, it is not. Youth empowerment is a strategy. It's a strategy that drives sustainable economic development. So for us to be able to, first of all, even discuss leadership and approaching leadership, let's see the youth as a strategic tool. So when you see the youth as a strategic tool, then the conversations, you see, I heard my brother, Honorable Minister, talk about all the vehicles that has been set up by previous governments and the governments, and we will come back and fight these same vehicles. Why? Because these vehicles are always created to have the mindset to give handouts. And we should, before I go back to that point that you want me to address, I want us to be clear in this room that youth empowerment is a strategy. Rwanda sat down, came up with a strategy for their youth and said, look, in Ghana, when you take 4 people, 3 of them are below 35 years. Yet we have no single proper strategy for the youth. All we think about is carry them, put them in buses, take them to constituencies, make them shout, make noise, come back, you give them some money, then we tell them when we come to power. That is not youth empowerment. And if we don't take care, we will be creating monsters that will one day come after us. It's about time we stop it. Now, why are leaders not approachable? I want to have that conversation. If you're a leader, you're not approachable. You're not a leader in the first place. Let's not even have the conversation about leadership. Because a leader is for the people. You are meant for the people. If I cannot walk to Honorable Agyapong and say, sir, can I have a conversation about something? And you give me a minute or two to say, just that, yeah, sometimes I understand the lapses of the youth. When you give them 1 inch, they can talk about unnecessary stuff. It's not the time to talk about unnecessary stuff. But if you are called a leader, then first and foremost, you are for the people. Leadership is driving something out of people. So I know every single honorable sitting here, I know either by face or by name, or have listened to. There's one thing about Sticker. Sticker will play everybody, but he's an honorable. But you can approach him. To what level can you approach him? I don't know. Honorable Oponkuma has so many avenues to approach him, either at the constituency or here. When I was sitting here with my brother Frank, I was telling him that your ability to be a minister in one of the biggest regions in Ghana at the age of 30-something years, combining top paramount chiefs and kings and then the governors, it's not easy. Teach me. It is approaching leadership. So I think that a leader in the first place should be approachable. You are not a leader if you are not approachable. If I leave here today and I cannot speak to less than about 10 students and say, what do you do? How are you going about it? Because one of the problems is that we have a lot of young people who have built a lot in tech and agric in this country. The only thing is that they don't have a voice. They don't have a voice. So they are underrepresented. And when my honorable members of parliament get to parliament and I expect them to go and give them the voice, oh, they'll go and fight.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Metalon. Now,
before you ask,
right.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Before you ask me a question, I think I know why you're the next president. Because really, honestly, like, we're all practical on this stage, not just theoretical, right? And we know some things from history, right? I am my history, I am my choices. One of the things I've studied in history, sir, is that there is no time in history I've ever found where directly investing, which is what you call a strategy, investing in people has not been a return on investment. Animals don't plant seeds, human beings do. And the seeds you plant with each other is what gives the power for other people to be empowered to serve you. The people have the power more than the people power, but it's not a threat. We all work together. Wherever we are in the world, I've studied this, not just in Ghana.
All right. Thank you very much. Talking about mentorship, he said a lot about leadership being approachable and all that. I want to find out, as a young person, you always have ideas. So when I meet Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, I will tell him about my business that costs $500,000. Meanwhile, I haven't done anything with one Ghana city. And then I take all these huge ideas to him, and it's like it's an abstract thing from the reality.
How do we sell ourselves as youth so that leadership will take us serious with our businesses?
Let me say that when you hear me say that wealth is built by agreement, we tend to think of the agreement we want, not the agreement we're making, the agreement we give. I coach a lot of entrepreneurs. I meet with geniuses 3 or 4 times a week, really. And when I coach them about getting investment, I ask them to remember that the investor that's sitting on the other side of the table, or anybody granting you power that you don't otherwise have, they have their own risks, not just you as an entrepreneur. Did I go up? No. So it's very important if you're dealing with people you perceive to be empowered to be able to help you, that you get to know their interests. What are their not enoughs? Even people with money have plenty of not enoughs in their life. Not enough time, not enough resources, not enough support, not enough engagement, which is why you need to be approachable as a leader. So I think if we shift from thinking, how do I get my agreement and how do I make agreement with the person sitting on the other side of the table, that opens up the doors for them to hear how you can contribute.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ohene, we realize in our part of the world, once we agree on, let's say, government interventions, and then we go there, let's say there's an intervention, let's use an Uber example again, and then I know that government says that they are giving X amount of vehicles to young persons who want to be in that industry, and I go there and it's party members only. How do we move away from that to the national cake where everyone, every young person feels I'm included, I'm heard, and I can get whatever intervention or can be a part of whatever intervention the government comes up with?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So, political parties exist for one reason, to win an election, that is it. Government exists beyond what the political party is expected to do. So there should always be that difference between running a political party and running government. If you intermix what political parties do with what you're expected to do as a government, you end up being partisan with almost everything. Yes, you may have youth who have supported you to win an election to form government in the first place. So in anything you are doing, you can give a fair quota to the political party to manage whatever they need to manage their youth with. And you leave the chunk of it for the great majority of the people who may not have a voice through a political party to assess him.
So are you saying that party people first before the general Ghanaian population?
They should be provided for, not first or second or third or fourth, but they have to be provided for. And once you make that provision, the rest or whatever.
The rest is offensive. We are all Ghanaians. We voted for a particular goal for a government, to steer the affairs of people. So if you are telling me right now that party members first, then I'm sad.
So
Hold on, sir. What if?
You're getting it wrong with the first.
Honorable, what if? You said that. So what if I have no connections to you, and I really need that? Then is that what you're saying?
You are getting it wrong with first. No government can survive without their political parties. We cannot be hypocritical about it. That a youth would leave everything they are doing, follow Agyapong, go and give all the showdown, and at the end of the day, you expect that he becomes president and will not take care of them. It will never happen. So make adequate provision for your political party. Whilst you make adequate provision for the rest, or if I say the rest, it doesn't mean that we are putting the political party first, but the political party must be catered for. If they are not catered for, that is where they will come on your neck, and everything now will turn into a partisan affair because you have not been able to provide it for them. Once you're able to do that and satisfy both parts, I don't see the reason why. So for me as a minister now, every Tuesday I decide I dedicate that for political party affairs. So if you're a party person, you want to see me on Tuesdays. Every other day is for government business. So if you come and you're a political party person, I need to book you, I'll book you for a Tuesday. You need to give to what is Caesar, Caesar. What is Christ, you give to Christ. Once you are able to do that, I'm sure that you should be able to satisfy both sides and you should be free.
It's painful, but it's a hard truth anyway. Yes, it's a hard truth. Now, our Queen, let's look at climate change and government interventions. Do you think that over the years and even in recent times, is government doing enough, so far as climate change is concerned?
Okay, so in my view, the government has embarked on a lot of initiatives, or they have put in some interventions in order to help solve the issue of climate change. First of all, they've opened their doors to the youth in order to easily access them. For instance, as the GMB Queen and embarking on my project, I have met a lot of people in government just by sending letters to them, booking appointments to meet them, and they are always available. And also the government has kept a lot of initiatives to ensure that there will be climate action. At the beginning of this year, the government launched the Tree for Life Reforestation Initiative, which is to help combat deforestation in the society. So it's a good intervention. And this government has also appointed a Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, mainly for that purpose. So I think it's a very good initiative. We have the Forestry Commission, the Ministry of Environment, the Environmental Protection Agency, and aside that, they've partnered with international organizations as well to help provide funding for climate change initiatives. For instance, recently the National Youth Authority partnered with an international organization to make funds available to youth. So the application was open, and the youth that were into green economy or climate change initiatives could easily send in an application for a grant to help scale up their initiatives. So I think the government is really doing well in terms of climate change.
Thank you very much, and let me thank the government for your intervention. You want to add something, sir? All right.
Global perspective. Waste is wealth. Okay, waste economic opportunity all over the world. So whatever government policy or any other policy can be about is empowering entrepreneurship within the technology of converting waste into wealth. This country can become a leader in the world in this technology if it decides to.
Thank you. Final question. Looking up ground floor, first floor, second floor. Many youth here. Someone might be contemplating, which area in this economy should I invest in? We say Trim. What would you say, Engineer Trim? Can you give us an area that, as for this area, is risk-free? When I put my money into this, I'm getting investment or money back on investment.
It's difficult to mention one specific area, but tech is flying. Tech is flying, right? But then you must also look at your strength and then go into the area that you can stand. Because if you're a young person, what you don't have is capital. So then you want to see where your professionalism, your ethics and everything can build you up for someone to support you. So, but tech is really doing well now because, like Nana said, AI. So if you really want to go into tech, it will be fine. But I always think that once you have studied something in school for 2, 3, or 4 years, you have something within it that you can always specialize on. So don't always throw your degrees away because you want to be an entrepreneur. This gentleman was an economist and he still did something in economics and he's still an economist. So I think we shouldn't let people just go to school for 4 years and come out and think that they can do anything. But what you study in school, you can use it, build on it, find something within it that will make you better, create value, and that can give you some business.
Thank you. We open up the floor for a few questions. So if you have a question, kindly come up. Yes, put your hand up, mention your name, and then ask away.
All right. Hello. Right. Right. My name is Kamaldeen Abdullah Ibn Chambers, and I'm a young Ghanaian advocate. Before I proceed, ladies and gentlemen, can we show some love to the organizers of this event? Right. I believe that today we talked more about youth empowerment. But when you look at our system, there's a lot of limitations. For example, when you look at our 1992 Constitution, that is Article 62B, states clearly give the requirement to be able to contest for president. You have to be at the age of 40 years. And now we are in 2025. This question goes to the Minister of Ashanti Region. Do you think that it's about time to amend certain part of the Constitution to be able to give opportunity to the youth to also lead? Reducing the 40 years to, let's say, 30 years, because we believe that leadership is not about age. Like I said earlier, my name. And also one question to our Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. Sorry, this is the last question. He contesting for the flag bearership 2026. What strategic plan does he have for the youth? But before I end, let us show love for him for being present here. All right, like I said earlier, my name is Kamaldeen Abdullah Ibn Chambers. Thank you for your audience.
Thank you. So, Honorable Minister, you take the first one, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much. The framers of our Constitution had a certain perspective as at the time the Constitution was being written. And the Constitution definitely is a growing document to provide for current dispensation and issues that may come up. In time past, the age at which you even start school was around 7 years thereabout. Now even at 1 year, there are daycare schools that can take care of children and all that. So as the society progresses, there should be an avenue to make amendments of this nature. In America, I remember clearly, the age limit is 35. For instance, if Obama were to be in Ghana, I'm not sure he would have had the opportunity to become president at the age he became president. So I think it's a right call. 30 may be too low, maybe let's say 35, from 40 to 35. That amendment, I think that if you're able to push from the institutions as we have here, it will be a reflection of what the youth is calling for, so that we can have a Gen Z president maybe in the near future. Thank you.
That would be interesting. All right, thank you. So, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong will take the next question.
Oh, thank you very much. Anyway, his question is what actually I'm going to talk about. So I'll give him out of it. Yeah, thank you very much for asking the question. My aim of becoming the president and also what I'll do for the youth, the answer is simple. As a businessman, I've come to realize that the youth are not given opportunities. When you talk of youth employment, all those agencies are not going to assure the future of the youth unless the government creates enabling environment suitable for business so that the youth will take advantage of it. Here, the youth is over-dependent on government for their survival. And no youth depending on the government alone can survive or be a rich or successful person. You have to take your destiny into your own hands and make sure that you take advantage of what is going on and move ahead. Don't wait till the government gives you assistance. So what I'm also going to do, the youth to have startup capitals. We shall make sure we give startup capitals to the talented youth who wants to venture into businesses. The rest you hear from me when I speak.
Thank you very much. We'll take, the line is quite, so we'll do 3 more questions and then. Mr. Trim, Engineer Trim, do you want to take that?
Nooks, and also having abreast myself with the challenges of students across the country. That advice, I'm not sure I'll share it on this platform, but that informed me to start from SRC level at the point I needed to enter mainstream politics. The reason for which I had an opportunity to do so that year from Mampong, and I did so from Mampong. As a student, yes, it was difficult having to mobilize funds to pay for the development fee, not the filing fee. The filing fee usually you can do it, but the development fee, I'm sure Honorable is paying 4 million Ghana cedis as a development fee. The reason why he has to win. So, so there's something we call social capital. Social capital is your network of people who are available to help you with whichever vision you want to pursue, among others. So yes, from my school days, I had built these individuals who believed in my vision and my ambition, and for which reason I needed to fall on them and fall on family to be able to provide for some of these funds that were needed to be able to go through that hurdle. Challenges, yes, there were a lot of challenges. When I decided to contest, the incumbent, the former MCE, also from nowhere decided to also contest. And you would imagine having to contest as a student against a former DCE who just left office. Financially, otherwise, connection with the district and all that. It was a huge challenge for me. Age, yes, was a very huge challenge. So at a point, they would say things that would intend to provoke you. Once you go overboard, then they will brag you as being arrogant. Even in a situation where you want to be assertive and stand on your grounds, if you don't take care, they will brand you as being arrogant. So I needed to play it well, manage it well, convince the people why we needed a young person as parliamentary candidate instead of the status quo. And that was well managed, and I was able to win the parliamentary primaries. Moving on to the main elections, which was the NDC-NPP battle. Mampong has ever been an NPP-dominated area. My main aim was to win. The second aim was to make sure I bridged the gap, which I did so beautifully. And that gave me an opportunity to run for regional secretary for the party in the next election, because they realized that the effort and the strategies I put up was able to bring the MPP votes down and be able to appreciate the NDC votes. And for which reason, I was able to win as the youngest regional secretary in the next election. So these were the things that I went through as a young politician starting from my hometown. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. So we'll take one question from my left. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. So, if we talk about the youth, we all know we are talking about the future. And if we are talking about the future, then it means we have a mission that we are working towards. So please, if our honorable guest can tell us about the mission and also some of the policies to be prioritized maybe in the next 10 years to ensure development in the youth. And then the second question goes to Mr. Felix. Elder, wait there, Mr. Shemi Bisa. In a religious setting, we have our values and norms. But it looks like in our workplaces, we leave our values at home and then we go to work as individuals. So you see a drama in the workplace with Muslims too. Our values all found on stealing. But Kencity Media, our office, I will be why am on effort. So I'm trying to ask that way, how do you find a balance between religion and then the structure of work, not to mess up with it? Because if you push through it too much, it becomes like you are being too religious. But if you leave it at home too, as I feel now we are free, we say, at the end that we miss someone, you go in for it. So please, if you can give us explanation to that. Thank you, sir.
Right. We'll take two more questions and then we'll bring this session to an end. We'll come again. So please write your questions down. Don't forget them. During the next session, you can do so. So let's just take two more questions, my dear. We'll take one and the other person will take one from my right. Please ask away.
All right. Thank you. My name is Shama Abdul Wahab. I'm interested in the field of tech. We've understand that through the session, we've talked about how
Kindly
AI
mature your voice a little. So.
Okay. All right. Throughout the session, we have looked into how tech and then sort of artificial intelligence are very key into our developmental phase. I've seen that people get to access tech during the latter part, probably during this tertiary section. I want to ensure that I see that children as early as 10 could get access to technological tools to aid them build their skills and technologies. What are we doing in the schools? What are we doing in the younger age to ensure that these people know what is behind tech? These people are able to contribute their views, to contribute their skills towards technological advancement. Another thing that I want to comment is that while I got registered through this platform, I saw that we're able to accept people or sort of authorize people utilizing the tablets outside. I would like to commend the organizations for actually doing that. This play a key role into ensuring that we fasten things up in our environment. Tech is here to stay and tech can be found everywhere.
Point well noted. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Final question and then we'll bring the session to a close.
Okay. My name is Eric Kwesi Taylor. I'm the CEO of Pregnant Group Limited. I have 6 subsidiaries under me as a young CEO. But I have a problem, and I think my problem will go to Honorable Minister. Yes, because you are in power. I want to produce a product, and the product name is Penny Choco. And I have to buy cocoa powder from Cargill. Now I went to Cargill and I was given invoice of 20 tons, $97,000. Now according to Cargill, They are a free zone company. And so which means that before I get the product out, I need to do duty, pay duty over the product before I get it. When I went to GNRA, the duty they are giving me is 70% of the value, 70% of 97,000. And when you convert the 70% of 97,000, it's about 900,000 Ghana cedis before I get the product out to produce penny choco, which I have the intention to supply to school children. Because today we are celebrating Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He used to give school children Milo, but today we are giving them porridge, fermented porridge. So my idea is to go back to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But here is the case that they are charging me 70% of the value. I wrote a letter to Minister of Finance.
Yes, that's true. So what's the question?
Yeah, the question is that I want to finish before I pose the question. I wrote a letter to Minister of Finance, Honorable Atufo. He minted on my letter to the GRA boss to consider me for tax reduction. He is also saying that Honorable Minister has gone to Parliament to stop all tax waivers, so he can't do it. Here I am. What can you do for me?
Thank
Good
you.
question. Thank you.
Right. So, Honorable Minister, Engineer will take this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Honorable Minister said I should start so that he relaxes some
I
of the
hear
questions.
you. All right.
Okay, so my question was from the gentleman who was asking how I'm able to balance religion and then ethics at work in staff. Okay, so I'll be honest. It was my weakness. I mean, as somebody who started a business, if anybody did anything in the company house, you know, as a church elder, you have to manage the situation, try. But thank God for my family, my brothers, and the other general managers I work with. Sometimes, when you're a business owner, you have to give responsibility to certain people who are very formal. And so now in my company, whether you're a church member or whatever, and you do something that is not proper, you are fired. But typically of a church elder, it was very difficult. I entertained that for 2 or 3 years, and I realized it wasn't good for the company. So now it's not like that. It's a formal company. We are brothers, we are friends, we talk, we laugh and all that. But Honorable Agyapong will say, if you got to be fired, you got to be fired.
Okay, so
Can I add something to
Right.
let me add one more.
So would you like to? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, no loan entrepreneur can make it in Ghana. It is an ecosystem. So the ecosystem involves the government, involves the religious bodies. Now, and he's saying this, I have the same thing in some of my companies. Being an elder of the Church of Pentecost, I'll fire a member. He'll come with my pastor. Come with my elder. So let me share something with you. I had a program done and some business done. I flew to Kenya and asked one of the members who was an employee that go and pick the check for me. Unknowing to me, the check was written as a cash check. This guy went for the cash check. Deacon of the church, cash the check, chop half. And then stop coming to church. Then it became my problem that he has stopped coming to church. The problem was not that he has taken my money. The problem was that I have caused somebody to stop coming to church. And I went to the presiding and I said, who has stopped somebody? He has stolen my money. So, you see, it's an ecosystem. No entrepreneur can make it on their own. The government has a role to play, and I think the lady who interviewed me outside, I told them, I said, he says, how do we create an environment? I said, there is an external environment and an internal environment. You should create your own environment as well. Then the church or the religious body, the mosque, wherever, they should let people to be responsible for their actions. I employed a young man. I actually referred him. So if you had asked me what one business the youth should go into, I'll say go into the business of networking. But then this young man comes to me and I help him to get a job in a hotel. He gets into the hotel, has an argument with the lady, beats the lady up. Then the lady is sent to the hospital, and this guy is in the church. So I hear of the issue, and it becomes my responsibility to go and pay for hospital bill because I recommended him. Then instantly I said, fire him. Then when they fired him,
In trouble.
in the morning, the mother was there. And then he had elders. Then when I didn't listen, they went to my district pastor. It didn't work. They will go to area head. So by the time, yes, then by the time you realize you have a whole church service,
Right.
they are there too. So the religious bodies should be part of the ecosystem. Thank you very
For the
much.
sake of time, we'll take the last one and then wrap.
Let me just add one more
Right.
to what is being said. I think for me, I don't like a system where we reduce everything to politics, reduce everything to relationship. Then that means there's a problem. There should be a system, there should be a structure, there should be a policy. The issue of relationship and religion, ethics at the workplace is being solved by policy. The policy says yes, it says no. And that is why you put up policies to shape a certain structure. Let me share with you how a human being is. The typical human being is that what you say do, they won't do. What they say don't, they will do.
Right.
So you need policies to shape the environment. And the issue of religion, relationship, ethics will be solved. That's
Thank you very much. So,
So there was a question about what deliberate steps we can take in making sure we promote youth leadership. I think during the earlier presentation, I made mention of the fact that we have policies to promote youth in entrepreneurship. However, when it comes to youth participation in leadership, there is no legislation to that effect. So as a forum, we can put together a proposal so that instead of leaving it liberal to leaders, we can make it a youth affirmative bill where every government is entitled or expected to make sure they see 30% of youth inclusion in their leadership, among others. That is one way to go. Another thing I mentioned was the fact that forums of this nature, we should find a way to collaborate with government so that the youth ministry can adopt what you're doing and be able to provide some support for you, among others. I think I mentioned that as well. So I think that these are areas we can explore, especially in answering the first question in that regard. The second one had to do with the tax issue. So yes, there was a concern about the abuse of tax waivers in the system, for which reason, among other key sectors, they put a hold on exploring these areas, tax waivers, lands, and all that. So they may be right, GRA boss may be right, that there is a ban on application for tax waivers and granting of same. However, to every rule there is an exception. If truly what you're going to do is for a social intervention or a corporate social responsibility to support schools, among others, you can get NEIP to adopt what we're going to do under their secretariat. Or you can get them to get either national security to adopt whatever you want to do under their secretariat. Then instead of you going ahead to pay all the things you need to pay, they would write as national security or as NEIP to the finance minister to consider your plea. So as you rightly put it, we want to use that as an intervention to help the nation and to help government. Once there is a support for government, I think that you can explore any of these two so that you go under the cover of national security or NEIP for that support. Beyond that, yes, and once I'm giving you the apple, you should start your distribution from Ashanti region.
Thank you.
Beyond that, any other private person, young entrepreneur, young startup, the government has made provision through NEIP to support you with even funds among tax exemptions, among others. So you can register with them so that anytime you have any difficulty with your business whatsoever, they can come in and under their cover, you'll be able to have some of these incentives provided for you at your reach. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Frank Ohene, Engineer Felix Trim, Richard Ahenkra, Queen Titiakat, Mr. Daniel Metalan, and Mr. Ebenezer Minka. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a great audience. We'll take Caleb will take it away, or the
Yes.
military band will just take it away.
But
Thank you very
I think
much.
that Akosia and the panel have done so good a job. Let's put our hands together for them. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thanks for your time spent, your knowledge shared, and your wisdom dispensed. In a couple of minutes, as I intimated much earlier, this is a convening for young people, by young people. And so we will get to hear from the convener of this particular forum. But we'd like to invite the military band to treat us to a very good tune, and then we'll take it over from there. Military band, over to you. While the panelists and the moderator take a few photos as well. Thank you. Thank you very much, military band. That was a very soothing melody. Okay, so let's all settle down now wherever we are. Please, let's take a seat. Let's take our seats, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue the rest of the program. Just to remind you, though, that this program is streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. VODC Africa is the handle, so please check it out. VODC Africa. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Please, let's all settle down. We want to continue with the rest of the program. Thank you. Thank you so much for your cooperation. We've gotten to that juncture where we'd like to hear from the convener of this particular forum to understand the vision and the burden he carries and what has led him to do this. This is the 5th of such forums, and I think so far we'll all agree that it's been very engaging, very eye-opening. There's a lot more that you'll be hearing, so let's just say we've done part 1 so far. Our panelists have been very engaging. Thank you. God bless you. But now we'd like to call on the media to give us a quick profile of who our convener is. When he's done, we'll hear from our convener. Ladies and gentlemen, our convener.
Daniel Asumeni is a dynamic and visionary young African leader and author whose multifaceted approach to empowerment, innovation, and community-driven change combines strategic acumen with deep cultural rootedness. Anchored in the Afrocentric philosophy of Ubuntu, a belief in collective progress, his work reflects a commitment in inclusive policies and sustainable development. Currently serving as the CEO of Prudential Superfoods, Daniel emerges business expertise with sustainable agribusiness to foster youth empowerment and economic resilience. He also convenes the National Emerging Leaders Economic Forum, Ghana's largest youth gathering, annually uniting thousands of young leaders, industry pioneers, and heads of states to drive collaboration and innovation. Daniel's leadership extends to climate action through the Bloomberg Philanthropies-backed Accra Youth Climate Action Fund, where he oversees micro-grants for youth-led climate projects. As founder of VODC Africa, he has championed entrepreneurship summits, skills development programs, and impactful initiatives such as distributing 1 million free masks during the COVID-19 pandemic. Between 2021 and 2025, Daniel served as executive assistant to Accra's first female mayor, contributing to municipal service enhancement and youth engagement strategies. He also holds the distinction of being the youngest board member in Pentecost University's history. Recognized internationally, Daniel has received multiple awards, including the Young Achievers Awards for Enterprise and Youth Empowerment 2019, the Hero Smartphone Peace Awards 2017, and being named among Ghana's 30 Youth Leadership Changemakers in 2025. His academic distinctions include an MSc in Public Affairs from Accra Business School, where he was awarded the Best Student in Democracy and Democratization. A staunch advocate for youth empowerment and climate activism, Daniel emphasizes African solutions for African challenges. His vision is grounded in entrepreneurship, ethical leadership, and collaborative innovation across the continent. African youth are not just tomorrow's leaders, they are today's innovators. Daniel Asumeni.
Hello. When I say VODC Africa, I want you to respond with all the youthful exuberance, empowered to change. VODC Africa. VODC Africa. And the last one, VODC Africa. Before I utter any word again, I want us to observe 30 seconds, minute or silence in recognizing our former speaker, Honorable Adegoka, who was with us here last year. Shall we humbly be on our feet? Shall we please be seated? Thank you very much. May his perfect soul rest in peace. Berima Agyapong Sapon II, chairman of this occasion, and the chief of Asante Asaman in the Ashanti Kingdom. Honorable Ken Ohene Agyapong, a mentor to many, former member of parliament and MPP presidential aspirant. Mr. Daniel Matalin, social investor and founder of Is There Enough? Engineer Felix Atrib, the CEO of FEDEMS Group. Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah, member of Parliament of Fuansi Ayurebi constituency and former minister for State Housing Corporation. Honorable Dr. Frank Amwakohene, Ashanti Regional Minister. Mr. Richard Kwatin Ahenkra, Leadership and Management Consultant and Lecturer, UK. Honorable Fatimatu Abubakar, former Minister of Information. Mr. Ebenezer Amankwa Minka, Executive Director, Center for Economic Research and Policy Analyst. Queen Titiaka Ibrahim, winner, Ghana Most Beautiful 2024. Apostle Dr. Christian Chapoy, Head of Ministerial Formation and Training. Apostle Kingsley Ade, Head Minister PIWC Accra. Distinguished leaders, esteemed guests, and most importantly, the architects of Africa's tomorrow, all protocol duly observed. Today, as we gather on this sacred day that commemorates the birth of our founding father, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we stand at the threshold of history. We are not merely attendees of another conference. We are the inheritors of dream deferred, the custodians of vision interrupted, and the generation chosen to complete what our ancestors began. On this day, we do not just remember Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his legacy. We remember the touch he lit that has been through decades of struggle, triumph, and transformation when he declared Ghana's independence 70 years ago. Couple of years back, I was a young man navigating the harsh realities that millions of African youth face today. I sold kerosene on street corners, my hand stained with the fuel that would light other people's lamps, whilst my own future remained dim. I trekked from town to town, carrying second-hand clothes on my back, each step a testament to the determination that burns within every African heart. My education was a luxury. I could afford only one day a week. While my peers sat in classrooms, I worked in fields processing cassava. My dream seemingly as distant as the stars. The world would have written me off as another statistic, another young African destined for a life of limitation. But Africa has taught us that statistics are hardly static and circumstances are not set in stones. My life was transformed when an extraordinary individual saw potential in me. But here is the catch. It was not luck that transformed my life. It was the convergence of preparation, opportunity, and unshakable faith. Today, I address you as the CEO of VODC Africa and the convener for this significant forum. This to me is not merely recounting my journey. I am a testament of what can be achieved when we reject the limitations of our beginnings and instead embrace the potentials of our aspirations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you today, under the theme, "Is there enough youth empowerment? The gateway to sustainable economic development?" I want to inspire you all to carry the same flame of fire in Chromalate, not as a relic of the past, but as the beacon that will guide us into Africa's greatest century. While transiting through Cairo International Airport on my way back from China 2 years ago, I witnessed a scene that deeply affected me. I came across young Ghanaians returning from abroad, not as triumphant heroes, but as battle-scared survivors. As I engaged some of them in a conversation, their expression revealed tales of exploitation. Their tears reflected lost dreams, and their silence conveyed a profound sense of dignity denied. Some had fallen victims to agents who had lured them with promises of golden opportunities, only to lead them into humiliating circumstances. Others had traversed deserts and oceans, risking everything for a chance at a better life, only to realize that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Same was the story of Dako Thomas, a vibrant man who walked the Sahara Desert to Libya and crossed the Mediterranean Sea to Europe. To him, this was never a tale of individual courage. Rather, it is a mirror reflecting our continental leadership deficits. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, when our youth put their lives on the line to cross deserts and oceans, they are not merely in search of economic opportunities. They are escaping the ridicules of those who claim to be visionary leaders capable of turning their homeland into the place of their dreams. Brain drain has become a national crisis in Ghana, robbing us of our most precious asset, our educated youth. But I refuse to see this as defeat. Every young person who leaves Ghana seeking opportunity abroad is issuing an indictment of our collective failure to create conditions for their flourishing. They are not rejecting Ghana. They are rejecting the Ghana of limited opportunities and possibilities. They are turning towards the Ghana of their dreams. Interestingly, there seems to be a sting that has gradually defied potential young Ghanaians. Their ideal state of survival and leaves them questioning whether or not they truly belong here. The issue of rent and housing. The housing deficit in our cities, coupled with monopolistic tendencies in the private sector, has created a situation where a young person earning 5,000 Ghana cedis monthly cannot afford even modest accommodation in our cities, while managing utilities, food, and transportation. This is a national security threat that risks fueling corruption and fraud among our emerging youth population. This brings me to three fundamental questions that must shape our response today. First, how do we shield our young people from exploitation when they venture abroad, ensuring their safety and dignity in foreign lands? Second, what comprehensive policies can our government enact to provide promising opportunities that make staying home more attractive than living? Third, how do we equip our young people with knowledge, skills, and resilience needed to navigate an interconnected world while building the Africa of our aspirations? The answers to these questions will determine whether we experience a demographic dividend or a demographic disaster. The challenges we face are not insurmountable obstacles. They are construction materials for the Africa we are building. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you the blueprints for transformation that VODC Africa and our partners are implementing, not as charity, but as investment in our collective future. At VODC Africa, we have witnessed firsthand the explosive potential of African youth through our annual Idea Challenge since 2018. We have empowered young Ghanaians with seed funding ranging from 5,000 cedis to 50,000 Ghana cedis. But more importantly, we have provided them with something invaluable: to believe in their capacity to create solutions for African problems. Recently, I had the opportunity of chairing the launch event for students-led projects at the University of Professional Studies, UPSA, where groups of students developed Metlash, a chocolate product infused with ginger, granite, and coconut. The packaging was exceptional, the innovation remarkable, and the entrepreneurial spirit infectious. This is why I propose that students should have the option of choosing entrepreneurial development over traditional thesis writing. Developing products from ideation to launch, creating end-to-end solution for real-world challenges. Imagining scaling this across 10 universities by 2027 to boost graduate-led startup by 15%. With Ghana's creative industry already contributing 3% to GDP. Such reforms could double this impact. These are not just statistics. They are the blueprint for transformation, commonly shared pillars for our national transformation. 1. Ghana's digital economic revolution. We must position Ghana as West Africa digital hub. With our stable democracy, English-speaking advantage, and growing tech ecosystem, We can attract global tech companies to establish their headquarters in Accra. We would create special economic zones for technology companies, offer tax incentives for digital startups, and establish Ghana as the Silicon Valley of West Africa. Our goal should be to increase the digital economy's contribution to GDP from the current 4.5% to 15% by 2030. 2. Ghana's agricultural value chain transformation. With our fertile lands and favorable climate, we can boost cash crop production, processing, and export, while making product accessible to locals by establishing agro-processing zones, farmer cooperatives with modern technology, and becoming West Africa's food basket. We can create 2 million jobs and increase agriculture's GDP contribution from 18% to 25%. 3. Ghana's manufacturing regeneration. We have the opportunity to become the manufacturing hub for the African Continental Free Trade Area with our strategic location, ports, and infrastructure. We can attract manufacturing companies looking to serve the African market. We should focus on textiles, pharmaceuticals, automotive assembly, and electronics. Our target should be to increase manufacturing contribution to GDP from 12% to 20% by 2030. 4. Ghana's tourism and creative industry explosion. We have incredible cultural heritage, beautiful landscapes, and rich history. We should position Ghana as the cultural capital of Africa, the gateway for African diaspora, and center of African creative industries, from Nkrumah's legacy to our vibrant music scene, from our historical side to our contemporary arts. We can create a tourism industry that contributes 10% to GDP and employs about 1 million people. 5. Ghana's financial technology leadership. We should become the fintech capital of Africa. With our stable banking system and growing mobile money adoption, we can develop financial solutions that serve not just Ghana, but the entire continent. We should create regulatory sandboxes for fintech innovation, establish partnership with global financial institutions, and position Ghana as the testing ground for Africa's financial future. 6. Ghana's natural resources revolution. God has blessed Ghana with abundant natural resources: gold, diamond, bauxite, timber, oil, and many more. But we must stop being hewers of wood and drawers of water. Instead of exporting raw gold, we should establish gold refineries and jewelry manufacturing hubs, creating made-in-Ghana gold products that command premium prices globally. Instead of shaping raw bauxite, we should build aluminium smelters and manufacturing plants, producing finished aluminium products for construction and automotive industries across Africa. Our timber should be processed into furniture construction materials right here in Ghana, adding value before exports. We should establish petroleum refineries and petrochemical complexes to process our oil into finished products. Plastic, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals. We should create diamond cutting and polishing centers, transforming Ghana into a global diamond finishing hub. through strategic partnership with international companies, technological transfer agreements, and local content policies, we can ensure that our natural resources become the foundation for industrialization, not just export commodities. This transformation can create 1.5 million jobs and increase natural resources contribution to GDP from 20% to 35% by 2030. 7. Ghana's human capital maximization. Our greatest resources is not gold or oil. It is our people. We must transform Ghana into human capital powerhouse, strategic institutions to bring their apprenticeship models to Ghana. We should create specialized universities focused on emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology, and renewable energy. We should improve on the implementation of productivity-based incentive systems in both public and private sector, rewarding innovation and efficiency. We should create a national talent retention programs that offer competitive packages to keep our best minds in Ghana. Through this investment, we can increase productivity by 40%, reduce unemployment from 19.7% to below 10%, and transform Ghana into the human capital hub of West Africa. This is where Nkrumah's wisdom becomes our urgent imperative. Action without thought is empty. Thought without action is blind. We cannot simply celebrate our demographic dividend. We must strategically deploy it through education. And we cannot merely possess potential. We must convert it into prosperity. When our people are skilled, productive, and motivated, every other sector of our economy will flourish. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if we aspire to build a nation where patriotism, honesty, integrity, and discipline form the bedrock of our collective values, then we must prioritize affordable housing as a cornerstone of government policy. The solution lies in the private sector and traditional authorities to construct smart cities equipped with essential infrastructure, reliable roads, electricity, water, drainage system, and local job opportunities. This partnership is vital not only for creating well-planned communities, but also for addressing persistent flooding issues and building resilient urban centers that can accommodate our growing youth population. VODC Africa and our partners are committed to supporting these transformations. We are allocating 40% of our Idea Challenge funding with our partners to support female entrepreneurs, particularly in industries such as share butter processing, which provides livelihood to over 600,000 women. However, transformation requires more than individual initiatives. It demands systemic change. We must prioritize STEM education with the agency of a nation at war with ignorance. While China and India graduate millions in STEM fields annually, and the Asian tigers achieve STEM specialization rate of 30 to 40%, 43%. Ghana lacks with only 20% tertiary STEM education enrollment. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel Matalin, VODC Africa's partner from Canada, has been asking the critical question to global bodies: is there enough? Is there enough leadership? Effective leadership in Ghana demands a paradigm shift from quantity to quality, from rhetoric to action, from promises to performance, from accountability to youth-driven STEM initiatives, and integrity-centric policies take center stage. By prioritizing these values, Ghana can unlock its youthful potential and drive sustainable growth and development. Today, I call upon each of you, especially the youth gathered in this room, to seize the pivotal moment. Let us transcend mere discussions and transformation of our ideas into tangible, impactful solutions. The National Emerging Leaders Economic Forum 2025 is more than just a gathering. It is a clarion call to action, a declaration of war against mediocrity, a covenant with destiny. As the CEO of VODC Africa, I pledge that every young Ghanaian with a vision will find a partner in us. We will fund your ideas, amplify your voices, and empower your leadership. To the youth, I declare, your hands will code the applications that solve African problems. Your minds will manufacture the innovations that transform African economies. Your hearts will build the bridges that connect African nations. Your voices will govern the institutions that serve African people. To the farmers, your sweat will feed not just Ghana, but nations across our continent and beyond. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us make this covenant commitment, not with our voices alone, but with our hearts, our minds, our souls, and our unwavering determination. Now, as I bring my speech to an end, when I say we can transform Ghana, I want you to respond, we will. When I say we can unite Africa, I want you to respond, we will. When I say we can change the world, I want you to say we will. And when I say yebe to me, echo whispered. We can transform Ghana. We can unite Africa. We can change the world. Yebe to me. Thank you very much, and may the Lord bless Ghana and bless VODC Africa and bless all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. We may be seated. A very soul-stirring speech indeed. Thank you. That was the CEO of VODC Africa, Daniel Asumeni. Wow. Right, that was indeed a very inspiring speech. You know, the CEO of VODC Africa, he wants to change Ghana with one speech, so he's putting everything inside. It's very good. We'll change Ghana, okay? We'll change it. Please put your hands together for our CEO once more. Thank you very much. Now, you see, it's not every day that the youth organize events and you have such a rich array of Ghanaian leaders, both in the political space, entrepreneurial, private, religious space. We have a very rich collection of all of you here, and we are very grateful. We really don't take this for granted. Thank you all for coming. Please let's put our hands together and appreciate our dignitaries who are here. And in the next couple of minutes, we will have some time to hear from a number of them as well, and in no particular order, please. I'd like to invite upstage. No, sorry. The media will give you her profile, but you get to know about the former Minister of Information. Media will help us with more details.
Honorable Fatimatu Abubakar is a lawyer and communication strategist. She was previously Deputy Minister for Information and also served as Deputy Communications Director at the Office of the President. Born in Kumasi and educated at the University of Ghana, she holds degrees in psychology, English, and law. She has worked both in the private sector and in government, providing legal and communications expertise at the highest levels. Honorable Abubakar is widely respected for her calm but firm leadership, her ability to manage complex national communications, and her advocacy for media freedom and transparency. She represents a new generation of leaders in Ghana's public service, inspiring young women to rise in politics and governance. Honorable Fatimatu Abubakar.
The chair of the forum, Nana Berima Agyapong Sapon II, CEO of VODC Africa and convener of this forum, Mr. Daniel Asmani, the Honorable Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakuhine, the former Member of Parliament for the Good People of Asin Central Constituency and flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party, Honorable Kennedy Ohene Agyapong, distinguished speakers, eminent clergy, and other religious leaders, panelists, students, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on all further protocol eloquently established by the CEO during his speech and say good afternoon to you all. I have been tasked to lead a conversation on navigating career pathways, empowering youth to rise through the ranks. When I saw the topic, I assumed that probably the organizers of this forum had gone through my background and conferred on me, Minister of Navigation Affairs, because indeed, if you know where I started this journey from and where I have reached, there is no doubt, but a lot of navigation had to happen to get me thus far. But it is very important to situate today's conversation in a context. And I would like to anchor it on two principles: ethical leadership and sustainable development. What I define ethical leadership to be is leadership in reverence to the Creator, to God Almighty, to Allah, and with responsibility to the creation, to the environment, to the people, as leaders, to what we are supposed to do for our communities, for the impact we are supposed to make, and what have you. And sustainable development, because we are expected to talk about sustainable economic development. And I will take that from the definition of the Brundtland reports, which says that sustainable development is development that caters for the needs of today without jeopardizing the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So yes, I am here to teach you how to navigate, but I'm not going to teach you how to navigate mining in river bodies, because the money will come, but it will jeopardize the opportunity and prospects of future generations to make their own needs. But before I start the conversation, I would like to take us through a preamble. And after this scenario, if you've been ever affected by this scenario, kindly show by hand so that I will know the audience that I'm dealing with and know that indeed there is a problem that ought to be solved. If I don't see any hand, my work is done, Agyapong. So imagine completing JSS or JHS as we have it today. And your dream is to become a medical doctor like Dr. Ohene. But your favorite school gave you business. You say, let me take it like that, because my dream was to go to Prempeh College, to go to Accra High. You take the business, you navigate it for 3 years. After that, you say, oh, my grades are good. I want to go to University of Ghana to go and do business administration. The admissions come. University of Ghana gives you BA Linguistics or BSc Philosophy. You enter University of Ghana as your dream school. Navigate 4 years. After completing University of Ghana, the only job opportunities that have been advertised are either in data entry or as a receptionist somewhere. No matter what your dreams were as a toddler and as a young person or a teenager, imagine the struggles that you must have gone through by the time you complete university. And think about it, whether there will be any dream. So please, if you've experienced any of the challenges that I have espoused in this narration, kindly show by hand. If you were forced to change direction because of what you offered, okay. That being said, it is very important to also set targets for what we are discussing this afternoon. I must say that I dread speaking at lunchtime because I know what happens when I'm hungry, so I don't want to put you through it. So kindly bear with me as I address you in the next few minutes. By the time I'm done with my speech or presentation, what I want you to take away, especially for the young people in this room, is to know where you are going from here with respect to your career choices. And even if you don't know where you are going from here, at the end of this speech, you must start thinking about where you are going from here by close of today. There is no better example to give than what I have navigated myself. I never dreamed that I'll be a politician. I can't even lie about that. Not to even walk in any corridors with politicians. Neither did I dream of becoming a lawyer, because at the age of 20, before I came to University of Ghana in 2006, I had never met a lawyer. I come from Azogori in Garu in the Upper East region. I was born and raised in Mushizongo. I'm the first lawyer in my community and the first lawyer in my village. But these are the kind of steps that helped with my navigation. I have a lot of mates from my primary school, Foundation of Jesus Preparatory School at Mushizongo, and Bokrom MAJSS, Block B in Kumasi. You see the children who go to Saito, if we start telling our stories, you go back and see your mates and you will know the only thing that has happened between you and them is the grace of God and capacity building. So if we want to talk about navigation, we cannot escape that conversation. But for the purpose of the kind of audience we have in this room, I'm not going to talk about capacity building as in go to school, learn hard. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I want to specifically talk about specialization. Specialization. Yes, we have struggled with the educational systems. We've gotten the degree. What's next? Are you going to hide in the room and look for a job and say whatever comes? If I don't want to teach, but if what's available is GES, let me take the letter like that. Are you going to say, oh, I'm not interested in politics, but because I didn't get any job, let me follow a politician around so that they get something for me? No, that is not the direction you should go. If you want to end up in the formal sector, by the time you are done with your first degree, you should be clear in your thoughts, in your mind, what you want to be. And what you want to be should be driven by purpose. It should fulfill you. It should be something that you can live with, even if you have to do it 24/7. And when I was growing up, I said there is no lawyer in my community, I'll be the first. So far as I can remember, even at 13 years old, they were calling me lawyer because unya asema mekama. My advocacy has always been strong. And what I needed is formal education to formalize it. So when I was studying law, in comms, in political advocacy, it's never been a struggle because I love it. I think it's important that my community has a representation of a lawyer. You may be a good marketer. You come from a community where they weave baskets. They are not able to sell it beyond what they put by the roadside. Your specialization in marketing should be driven by you thinking that one day I should be able to create a website or a platform or introduce digital tools to my community so that their reach will go beyond those who ply Accra Kumasi Road. So if you want to do well, your capacity building should not remain at getting a bachelor's, but it should focus on specialization. And for a lot of people, it may sound abstract, but imagine this. If you are gifted with creativity, you want to be a creative dancer. After a degree, you should be following Dance God Lloydo and Endurance Grant. You should be going to their studios, perfect it. So that the dream is that one day, if there is Afro Nation here, you can go and perform there. If you want to be a climate change consultant, by now you should have read the 1992 UN framework on climate change. And you should have read the Kyoto Protocol of 1997 and read the Paris Agreement of 2015. If that is what you want to do, and all you are doing is sitting on TikTok live and watching beef, I guarantee you, the only expertise you are going to get is a TikTok live host and a beef commentator. For those in the informal sector, I am a food vendor even today. Even when I was a minister, when I go on set, you hear from Choba to Ghana Bar, it means two things. I belong to the Ghana Bar Association and I belong to the Choba Operators Association. I have run a family business that has existed in my family for 4 generations. My great-grandma had a Choba in Garu. When my grandma married and came to Offenso in Kumasi, she brought the pots and everything to Offenso. She ran the Choba until 1986 when my mom took over the Choba. And a few years ago, when my mom said she was retiring, I said, no, we are relocating the business to Accra. And I've been running the Choba to this day at Asofa and doing mass production for our party events, social gatherings, funerals, and so on and so forth. And I think this aspect of the informal market is important because of side hustles. In course of your navigation, sometimes what you expect to get, what you expect to happen at a particular point in time may not happen. But whilst you are chasing it, you should be doing something on the side to sustain you, to keep you surviving until you are able to do